If I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, you can actually even come to a full stop with just the clutch. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna be kind of like showing you how to move a manual car very slowly at a walking pace speed. So this is something that you need to do when you're doing maneuvers, especially like 3-point turns, when you're parking, when you're reversing in a driveway, or if you need to roll forwards a little bit. You need to be able to move the car very slowly, and you have to use clutch control in order for you to do this. So this is what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Consider subscribing for more driving related videos. So I'm going to start the car here. Gonna clutch, actually seat belt first. And then in this car, to start, I have to push the clutch all the way in. And then I need to push the power button once, and the car is gonna start. So if you've watched one of the past videos that I've done on this channel, you would know that in order for you to move the car forwards, you have to accelerate, and then you need to bring out the clutch to the biting point, and then you're gonna hold the clutch for about 3 seconds and then release the clutch. If you hold the clutch in for too long, when the car starts to move, you are going to be riding the clutch, which is something that you don't want to do when you are driving. Now, when you are doing maneuvers like 3-point turns or parking in the car park, you technically have to be riding the clutch. So what you are doing is you are kind of like releasing the clutch up to the biting point to move the car forward. And when the car starts to speed up, you push the clutch in a little bit to slow down. So the clutch technically at that point is actually acting as a brake. It's not necessarily braking, but what you're doing, you're basically using the clutch to control the speed of the car. So I'm gonna show you how this works here. So I'm gonna clutch down. I'm gonna put the car in first gear. So let's say that when I clutch all the way down, that's 0%, and when I clutch all the way up, that's about 100%. So clutching down is 0%, clutching all the way up is 100%. So the biting point is, in this car, is you're gonna need to release the clutch about 40%, 45%. In some cars, it's gonna be different. Every car is different. Some cars you do need to release the clutch up to maybe like 50%, and there are even cars where you actually have to release the clutch up to like 60% to get the biting point. But in this car, it's about 40%. So if I go into first gear, I'm gonna keep the handbrake on at the moment. I'm gonna use a bit of accelerator. I'm gonna bring out the clutch until I feel like the car is pulling forward, so about there. So what happened there is, when I get to the biting point, the bonnet of the car kind of like rises up a little bit, and I feel like the car is pulling forwards. That's the biting point. So I'm gonna do that again. Accelerate, biting point. I'm gonna hold the clutch around there. Now if I release the handbrake, the car should start moving. So what you do in this situation is, so at the moment, let's say I'm around 45% or 50%. To move, I bring it up to maybe 46%. If I push it down, the car will slow down. To move again, I bring up again the clutch. To slow down, I push it in a little bit. To move, to slow down. To move, I release it. To slow down, I push it in. To move, I bring it up. To slow down, I push it in. So I'm gonna roll back a little bit here. This is a little bit downhill. It should roll back by itself. So maybe around here. Now, what I'm doing here, every time I release the clutch, I also add a little bit of accelerator. And every time I push the clutch in a little bit, I stop accelerating. So I'm also using a bit of accelerator to make sure that the car doesn't stall. There are some cars, especially like diesel, where you can actually do this with just the clutch. You can just use the clutch to move forwards. Even in this car, I can actually potentially do that. So if I go biting point and then I let the brake go, I can actually kind of do that, but I just need to be more careful in this situation, because if I'm not using accelerator, the risk of stalling is very high. You see, like there, I just released the clutch and the car stalled. So the reason you are actually using the accelerator is to just prevent the car from stalling. The accelerator does not move the car. The accelerator is only helping you to prevent the vehicle from stalling. So I need to restart the car again here. Just gonna roll back again. So I'm gonna do this again one more time. So I'm gonna go clutch in, clutch down, first gear, add a little bit of accelerator, biting point, handbrake off. Then to move, I release the clutch a little bit, but I'm also adding a bit of accelerator. And then when I need to slow down, I stop accelerating and push the clutch in. To move again, accelerate. To slow down, stop accelerating. To move again, I accelerate. So I'm accelerating to prevent the car from stalling, but I lift the clutch to move. The clutch moves the car, the accelerator stops the car from stalling. You just don't want to keep pushing the accelerator when you're pushing the clutch in, because sometimes that can actually, it can wear off your clutch. It can overheat your clutch plate. So anytime that you push the clutch down, you also need to stop accelerating. And when you clutch out, you add a bit of accelerator. So again, here we go. Accelerate, biting point, ease off a little bit to move, push it in to slow down, ease off to move, push it in to slow down, clutch out to move, clutch in to slow down. When I'm clutching in, I'm only clutching in to about, if I'm, let's say I'm at 45%, I'm only clutching in to maybe, let's say 43% or 42%. If you clutch in all the way to 0%, the car, sometime if you're on a bit of an incline, if you're on an incline, the car will start rolling back. So let me show you what I mean by this. I'm gonna roll back again a little bit here. So here we go. I'm going to do this without handbrake this time. Just gonna ease off the clutch a little bit, and I'm gonna add a bit of accelerator, clutch out to maybe 46% to move. So if you do this, you see what's going to happen is the car is going to immediately start rolling back. That's why you don't want to clutch all the way in to 0%. You only need to clutch in if you are on maybe 45%, just clutch to maybe 42%, and that should slow down the car. So let's do that again. Maybe 42%, and then I clutch out again to 45% to move, clutch into 42% to slow down, and then I keep doing that. If you need to keep going that slow for some reason, then you're gonna need to keep, you have to keep doing that as many times as you need to. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how you can use this technique to do a 3-point turn. So I'm going to do a 3-point turn, but I'm gonna also use this clutch control technique to show you how you can control the car using a combination of the clutch and the accelerator. So I'm using the accelerator to prevent the vehicle from stalling, but I'm actually using the clutch to move and to slow down. Anytime I clutch out, the car should move. When I clutch in a tiny bit, the car should slow down. So I'm gonna do a 3.10 here. So clutching, first gear. If you want, you can keep the handbrake on, get ready, and then release it. Or you can release it and then get ready. It doesn't matter. It's all about how quick you can get to the biting point. So for me here, because I'm on a bit of an incline, I'm actually gonna keep this handbrake on until I'm ready. So I'm gonna accelerate a little bit, bring out the clutch to the biting point. I'm gonna indicate right, checking around, shoulder check. So now the car is not moving. I'm gonna release it a little bit to maybe 46%, and then I'm gonna turn the steering wheel. And then if I need to move, I can go to 47%, but every time I release the clutch, I'm also adding a bit of accelerator. And then here to slow down, you clutch in, and if the car is not slowing down, you just need to use a brake to stop. And then now, I'm gonna put the car in reverse. I'm gonna do my observations. So here what I do, I'm gonna release the clutch a little bit. I'm gonna add a bit of accelerator, also clutch out to that 46% to move, 47% if it's not moving. And then if I see it's going too fast, clutching to maybe 42% to move again, clutch out, to slow down, clutch in, to move, clutch out. And every time I'm clutching out, remember, I add a little bit of accelerator. So here I'm gonna go again, first gear, indicate right, looking around, and I'm gonna get the biting point, bit of accelerator as well, and then I clutch out to that 46% to move, to slow down, I clutch in. Here I don't need to slow down, I can even just keep going. And then here I can do another 3.10. So mirrors, indicate, shoulder check, and then this one is going downhill, so I don't need to release the clutch that much really, because the car is already rolling down by itself. But when I get halfway through here, sometimes the car might stop because the gradient of the road will change. Like here the road is now starting to like go uphill, so it stopped by itself. So I add a bit of accelerator. Again, I'm doing that 46%. To slow down, I go to 42%, and so on and so on. Okay, so into reverse, looking around, and then accelerate, biting point, clutch out to move, clutch in to slow down, clutch out to move, clutch in to slow down. So you're kind of going like, doing something like that. And then here, indicate right, look around, and then we're moving. Then once you're moving, you can clutch out all the way now because you're already moving. Okay, so that's the idea. The idea is you are clutching out a little bit by maybe like 1-2% to move. Then if you need to slow down a little bit, you clutch in by another 1-2% or 3%. If the car is not slowing down, keep pushing the clutch down. That should slow down the car. And then when you clutch down all the way to 0% and the car is not slowing down, you're gonna need to transition and go to the brake. And remember what you are doing here. Every time you clutch out to whatever percentage you're going for, every time you clutch out, you're also adding a little bit of accelerator. That's gonna help you to not stop. If you don't use the accelerator, you can still do it, but the problem is you might end up stalling the car. So I'm gonna do one more 3-point turn, and then I'm gonna wrap up the video. So clutching, first gear. This time I'm gonna take the handbrake off. I'm gonna do my observations, indicate, shoulder check. I know when I get to the biting point, the car will start moving. So here, if you release the clutch to whatever if you're thinking, okay, I need to release it to that 45%, and then the car doesn't move, that means you're probably not at 45%. You are probably hovering. If your biting point is 45%, you are probably maybe 43, 42. You just need to release the clutch a little bit. The mistake a lot of people make is when they see the car not moving, they release the clutch to like 60%. That might stall the car, or the car will just take off very quickly. So here, I need to be careful. I just release it, add a bit of accelerator. If I see the car is not moving, just release it a little bit to 46%. And here I'm turning full lock. I'm staying at 46% at the moment. If I need to slow down, just maybe 45, 44, to move again, come out, and then I go until I stop. Then I'm gonna stop. So I've gone all the way to 0% there. I didn't like brake before I go to 0%. I got all the way to 0% and then I use the brake. Then here I'm gonna go in reverse, looking around. No one is coming. I'm gonna come to, now here it's okay to find the biting point before you accelerate. Otherwise the car might roll forwards. Another way to do this, you could, if you have a handbrake, you could like put the handbrake on like this and then accelerate, biting point, hold the clutch, looking, turning the steering wheel. So here I'm just playing around with that clutch there. Every time I clutch out, I add a bit of accelerator. Then I come here, and then I'm gonna stop. When I get here, indicator looking. So again here, I'm gonna do the same thing. Accelerate, biting point, hold. Just keep holding the clutch. And then now, because here I'm moving, I can just release the clutch. I don't need to keep holding it in for the, I don't need to keep holding the clutch the whole time. So you can actually use this technique in a lot of situations. For example, in another situation, let's say maybe I need to reverse the car and I'm on a bit of an incline and I just want to reverse a little bit. You can use the same technique as well. So into reverse. So here I'm going to reverse. I'm on a bit of an incline, but I just need to reverse at a walking pace speed. So I'm gonna clutch in, into reverse. When you're trying to move, it's okay. You could like do a handbrake start where you accelerate, a little bit of a biting point. So you're releasing the clutch there to maybe about 45%. In this car, it's about 40%, 42, whatever the biting point is. Maybe around there, and then handbrake off. Then here what I do is every time I need to move, clutch out a little bit. If I clutch in, you see what happens? The car slows down. If I clutch out, add a bit of accelerator as well, the car moves. But I'm clutching out by maybe about 2%, not too much. Then here I'm able to move the car very slowly at a walking pace speed. If I clutch all the way in, see what's gonna happen? The car will start rolling forwards. Of course, if that happens, you need to quickly go on the brake to regain control. So same thing, a bit of a biting point, accelerate. Now, this is a mistake that a lot of people actually make. I don't know if you noticed that when I wanted to move, the car rolled forward a little bit. If that happens, if your biting point is around 45%, that means you are probably around 43, 42. That's why the car is rolling forward. So all you need to do is just quickly come to 45. Because a lot of people sometimes they panic and they immediately like push the clutch in. If you push the clutch in, you're actually making the situation worse. So here, like the car is rolling forwards, just clutching out should solve the problem. So there what I did was I'm trying to move, but the car is rolling forwards. Just clutching out a little bit by maybe about 2%, it should help me to go backwards. Because a lot of people sometimes when they trying to move, what they do is let's say they clutch out, they think they are at the biting point, but they are not there yet, and then they accelerate, the car is not moving, then they panic, you see what's going to happen? The car is just going to roll forward. It's not going to go backwards, it's just going to roll forward. So it's important, like if I clutch out, accelerate, biting point, it's not moving, I just clutch out a little bit more, and then the car is going to start moving. If I need to slow down, clutching, and as I clutching, I stop accelerating. If I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, if I need to slow down, if I need to move, you can actually even come to a full stop with just the clutch. You see now, I'm actually balancing the clutch and the accelerator, and I've brought the car to a complete stop. This is not something that you should be doing for too long. If you do this for a long time, you're gonna start overheating your clutch plate, and it's not good. So do that for a few seconds if you need to, but don't do that for too long. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, you can give the video a thumbs up, and also if you have questions, you can leave them in the comment section of this video. Keep practicing and stay positive. You'll get your license in no time. Thanks for watching.